I didn't realize the New Orleans Pelicans had a new player. This guy looks like he could be pretty good. This number 1 looks familiar. Looks like a guy who played at Duke. I knew him as Zion Williamson. I don't know who this guy is. Maybe he's Zion's cousin, Zion's little brother. He's in great shape. Wonder if he's got any game. Kurt Helin, Pro Basketball Talk. Man, we gave up on Zion last year. Gave up on him. Didn't see him. Following a year, which he was great. He shot well from the field and was dominated in the paint. Could score, could board. This is Zion Williamson, in all seriousness. Looks like he's in great shape. Do you think it will translate or just continue? I shouldn't say translate. Will it continue to, not last season, but the season before, where he really showed what kind of game he has?
I think so. I'm hoping so. I think, honestly, the top of my most intriguing teams list is the Pelicans. I'm really curious what this is going to look like. I think they could have an amazing offense because C.J. McCollum comes in at the end of last year and everything kind of gels, right? You needed that veteran and a three-point shooter who could space the floor, but also just somebody who got everybody pulling the rope in the same direction. Willie Green, the coach, was doing that. Suddenly it's all working. They get into the playoffs. It's fun at the end of the season. And you think, man, you add Zion to that and 20 points a night and the best look, what were some of their issues? They couldn't get to the line. Well, Zion will get to the line, man. He was so dominant inside. I am really intrigued. And I think, you see the side-by-sides of him, like when he's like just sitting there, you're like, my God, he looks so much better. He looks so much better shape. And I love Larry Nance's comment to him, which is, man, when you've got a body that's a Lamborghini, you got to stop using the cheap gas. And it sounds like he's finally getting it right, man. He sounds like he looks in shape. We'll see what I love this time of year because reports are he's dominating scrimmages. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. Like,
of course,
he's working out against the chair one-on-one. Like, let's wait for some actual games. But if he gets back to even what he was 2 years ago, let alone take a step forward off that, this Pelicans team they're interesting. That's a really interesting team.
Yeah, they are. And they gave Phoenix all Phoenix wanted early in that series. Then Phoenix was able to close them out without Zion. Zion. So you had Zion there, maybe Phoenix, they got exposed, but maybe we would have known around earlier about the problems the Suns had. But speaking of the West, stay out there. Any team challenging the Warriors, or do you still look at the Warriors and say, they got it, that's the team?
No, I think the Clippers can definitely challenge them.
Really?
Every other team comes with an if. Like I trust the Warriors. When push comes to shove, I know that they're going to be good. I mean, that was kind of it going into the last playoffs for me. It was like, yeah, on paper, in theory, they are the best team. Can they be that team in crunch time? Yeah, their veterans could. They could step up, and they knew how to play in the biggest moments. We kind of knew that, but we hadn't really seen them put it together consistently over the year. They did when it mattered. It's kind of the same thing now with everybody else. Like Clippers, I think, are absolutely they might end up being my pick to come out of the West. But you're betting on Kawhi Leonard and Paul George being healthy, and that team coalescing. It's deep, it's versatile, well-coached, can defend, can go big, can go small. Like, I just love everything about them, but it's 1,000,005 questions that they've got to answer. Same with Denver. Same with, you just go down the line in the West. Phoenix has got all sorts of questions now, starting with, is DeAndre Ayton happy? How do you replace Jay Crowder? Yada, yada, yada. There's so many other questions, and I just trust the Warriors, right? Don't you, end of the year.
Yeah.
Here's going to be, hey, they won their first preseason game in Japan, Michael. I'm sure you got up at 6 Eastern to watch early preseason NBA basketball.
Set the alarm. Okay, the alarm did go off at 6, but it was like the kids. It was time to get the kids ready for school. I should have just taken a pause and watched the Warriors for 2 or 3 minutes.
No.
You mentioned 1,000,005 questions, Kurt. Let's go to the East Coast. 1,000,005 questions. The Brooklyn Nets. Now, on paper, I always say this about the Nets. Look, you got Kevin Durant, who gave you 30 points a game last year and can shoot as well as anybody in the league. And you got Kyrie, one of the most talented guys in the league. And you got Ben Simmons, one of the most versatile players in the league. Okay, on paper you go, yeah.
Yeah.
But they got questions. And your questions, if you're naming your top 2 for Brooklyn. What are your top 2 questions out of 10 or 20 for the Brooklyn Nets?
I think it starts with, is Ben Simmons willing to play a role? Like, I'm not really worried about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's going to be great. I think you're going to get a motivated Kyrie Irving because he is a free agent after this year, and he learned the hard way this offseason. There's not much of a market, right? Ben Simmons, we haven't seen him in a year, and now they're asking him to do something different than he did last year or last time we saw him in Philadelphia. It's not a pure point forward role. In an ideal world, it's a little more Draymond-esque as a secondary playmaker and stuff. So is he willing to accept that role? Is it all going to work? And then the second question is just, do they have enough defense? Which right now I'm not. They've got some guys who can defend, but Ben Simmons is a great defender. Nick Claxton is a really good defender. I don't know that you can actually play them together, 2 non-shooting kind of big guys who have to be near the rim, and suddenly it gets weird on offense. So, I'm not sure their defense is all the way there to really contend, but I keep saying that, and then they got Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. If the offensive end clicks, they're going to win a lot of games and be a real problem.
I don't really like, and we just showed a headline a few minutes ago of Steve Nash said earlier in the week, I don't care if Ben Simmons doesn't shoot. And I'm like, Steve, oh my God. Did you watch what happened in Philadelphia? That's where the problem started. And the problem, there was some resentment. And then we just saw eventually the whole thing mushroom into a meltdown in the playoffs against Atlanta. I don't think Ben Simmons needs to hear that from a coach. I think it's just the opposite. What do you think about this? I hate that mentality of, I don't care if he shoots.
I think it is. Look, I think it ultimately is a problem. Steve Nash is going to find it a problem as he tries to find rotations that work. Sure, you can say I'm putting him out there with Irving and Durant and Joe Harris and Seth Curry, and I can find shooting and in certain lineups. But when you get to the playoffs, it's a problem. And remember, the shooting problem wasn't just he wasn't taking jumpers. He was afraid to go to the free throw line. That's why he's dishing off dunks, right? He doesn't want to get fouled. It's in his head about the free throws. Maybe that's fixed. But let's put it this way. If I'm an opposing team, I don't preseason game this year. It's close late and Ben Simmons has got the ball. You're going to the line. I'm like, you got to prove to me you can start hitting that thing. I got a lot of questions. Like I said, there's just so many questions about this team, but I think that Nash is going at some point, man. Joel Embiid shooting threes. You got to be able to step out a little. Jonas Valanciunas takes 2 a game. If you're not stepping out, it's a problem.
You said the Warriors are going to be good, and rightfully so. They got the best player in the league right now. We agree? Best player in the league?
Second.
Ooh. Second. Who's one?
Giannis. Giannis is just a better player right now.
Giannis.
With all due respect to Curry, who I get, even Giannis came out and said, look, he led his team farther. He's the best player. Giannis is a better player right now. Best player walking the face of the earth.
Okay, because I have Curry at 1, Giannis at 2. So what is Giannis? Is it just the size? Defense?
I think that's the real difference. Curry warps the game in a different way because you've got to double him 35 feet from the basket, and endless talk about his gravity and everything. I don't want to take anything away from that, but Giannis kind of warps it differently, and his just athleticism getting to the rim. But where he really changes the game is the other side. That defense just on a team of long defenders is a problem, and I think that to me that's where I would differentiate those two.
Hey, now check out my top 10 here. Wait, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it, especially number 10. Everybody always forgets about number 10.
Butler.
Jimmy Butler. Who would you change? Who would you take out of my top 10 and put in?
My first thought was is that playoff Jimmy Butler or regular season Jimmy Butler? Because playoff Jimmy Butler is that guy, but February Jimmy Butler may not be.
I'm going to say all the time Jimmy Butler. I'm going to go dreadlock Jimmy Butler.
I love that he did that just to F with people. Just like, you know what? I'm going to get people talking. I'm just going to show up.
He said, I'm going to make the internet mad. That's funny.
Exactly.
So is LeBron too low? How about Bron? Is he too low at 8?
Actually, the first guy I'd bump up to, I think Luka's going to step up. I get Kevin Durant at 3, despite the last 2 years or last year of injuries and stuff, because when rolling, he is still Kevin Durant. But I'd probably have Luka 4, and I don't know that I kept thinking about it, but I don't know that I'd move LeBron up, only because I think this is the year Tatum kind of moves past him. I think LeBron is still an elite game-changing talent, but even he's in Los Angeles right now. I mean, I wrote about it. Everybody's written about it. Anthony Davis has to carry the load. Anthony Davis is
good luck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Hey, if they can get bubble Anthony Davis for 65 games, great. But good luck with that, like you said.
Forget it.
But
yeah. I mean, yeah. If you get that, you're in good shape. And looking at that list. And you said, why is Luka where he is? It kind of goes back to what you said about Giannis, that he's such a game changer defensively, you bump him up. On the opposite, Luka, I feel like, is so bad on defense. I think he's a bad defensive player, flat out. Not average. I think he's a bad defender. So I'm going to bump him down. He's amazing. He's transcendent offensively. Bad defensively.
He is bad. I think he's a little better than maybe you can. Part of it is that he does okay to me defensively in a team setting more just because he's 6'8". You kind of forget he's 6'8", right? Like he's just kind of big and long, and he's not. He just covers some ground because of his size. He's not obviously a very good defender, and we'll see. We'll see what I'm really curious to see him. I think look, he's the MVP betting favorite over at PointsBet. Like he's going to, I think, have a monster year, and partially because he's coming out of Eurobasket, right? Kind of like Draymond with the Olympics and some of the other guys who came out of the Olympics last year, where they're in shape, they've been playing at a high level, they come in a little more game ready to start the season than the guys who are kind of figuring, treating training camp like veterans tend to treat training camp. Like, I think Luka's going to be off to a faster start than he has been, and I think he's in a little better shape than he has been. And we'll see. I think he's ready for I think he's going to have a really good year. I don't know if I'm going to pick him for MVP, but I get why he's a betting favorite.
All right. So last thing, and look, it's a long season. It's still technically September, so feel free. This is a fluid document. This is our on-air Google Doc, Kurt. You can go in, change it. Hey, Kurt Helin has made some changes. Michael Holley has made changes. We can see it on the doc. But right now, last day of September, your NBA champion is
the Milwaukee Bucks.
Whoa.
I think that right now they're the team I trust the most in the East. I think Brooklyn can get there. I think Boston can get. They would have 2 weeks ago. I would have said Boston, honestly.
Whoa.
And now I'm a little. I'm just.
That's a different offline conversation.
Yes, it is. I got reasons to think that could haunt them longer. So.
I'm 100% with you. 1,000%. So and a lot of people don't think that, but I do.
Yeah, I think, and the West, look, the Warriors are going to be good, and they're the team to beat. I can't. I'm tempted to pick the Clippers, but I just can't. I just can't pick the Clippers for man. I've lived in Los Angeles. I going back to Smith and him blowing out his knee in the '80s and all through. Like, this has been such a franchise that, even with all due respect to Steve Ballmer's
Danny Manning,
like on and on down the line. Lamar Odom demanding to be traded, like it just on down the line. Yeah. Different era. He is, give Ballmer credit, not just spent money, but spent it wisely to change the perception of a franchise around the league. Clippers are now a destination. They're considered player friendly, great facilities, got it, building a new building. I can't make it. I just can't. Denver would be fun, but I can't get there. So I'm just going to take the best team out of the East and say the Bucks.
Well, hey, Kurt, we appreciate you. And you, speaking of scenery, I feel like I want to go to a spa now, seeing your background. I am now at peace. You know, I'll put a mask on, get a little mask, maybe put some, cucumbers over, and just be one with the universe. I love that room. I love it.
I am leaving this to do a mud bath, so I'm with you.
Okay, go ahead and do it. Enjoy your mud bath this weekend. We'll catch up with you soon. Thank you.
I look forward to it, Michael. Take care, buddy.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.